Remember when the defense was making a thing out of this photo? He wanted everybody to be worked up over this stain on the marker. And he knows people's imaginations can go wild. Well, a forensics expert has something to say about that mark. And I think it's important that you hear this. Ed Wallace is a retired NYPD detective and CSI. Thank you, Ed and Duty Ron, for letting me share this clip. If you want to hear more of what Ed and Ron have to say about this, the link to their channel is in the description.
And then there was one photo, but that had on the evidence markers, the scale markers, there were some objects that were on them, and one of them was reddish in color. And the defense attorney was making big hay out of it because the witness could not remember that being like that. Okay, and they're calling it a stain, and I know clearly it's not a stain because it's casting a shadow. So it's a three-dimensional object that's on top of that, obviously got on top of the applied sticker afterwards.
This morning starts out with the defense once again arguing against admitting presumptive blood tests. First, listen to what the defense claims, and then you'll hear the response of the prosecution. What the defense states is, in my opinion, a weaselly mischaracterization.
But this now has to do with the Chevy Suburban. There is no evidence of blood, I want to emphasize that will be introduced. That was even, to my knowledge, tested. I was looking for a confirmatory test. Therefore, and it's not the DNA, there was no DNA of Jennifer Dulos in there. So the state has, in my view, tried to introduce something that has zero evidentiary value, never mind getting to the weighing of probative versus highly prejudicial. It would be, in my view, it's as erroneous as putting on false testimony, perjured testimony.
That's a heck of a statement right there. He talks for a while before the prosecutor responds. We're going to skip ahead to that response.
Switching to now the luminol, we can talk about false representations. Counsel indicated on Friday to the court that there was testing done on that trunk that came back that there was no blood in that Chevy Suburban. There was no testing that was done with respect to blood on that trunk. So that representation is completely false.
Wow. There was no blood is very different from saying the material that the presumptive test showed could be blood was never tested. But that begs another question. Why? Why wouldn't you test it? I'm hoping we find out.
Describe what's depicted in that photograph.
Yes, that's a paper towel roll that I found on the counter of the kitchen island. It's 69 wells. That depicts some of the blood-like stains I found on the paper towel roll. I field tested it for blood. I used a screening test called the Castlemeyer test.
I would ask the court to note my objection.
Objection. Of course. And he objects again and again.
And
If you can just walk me through what exactly is a Castlemeyer test?
it's a presumptive blood test.
Well, I'm going to object, Your Honor, and the lack of foundation for this testimony.
And the witness gives testimony that the defense would presumably want, but no, he objects again.
It's a presumptive blood test. It just tells us that the material is presumably blood, but it doesn't tell us whether or not it's human blood or animal blood. We will get a positive test result on any blood.
Your Honor, I'm going to object now. This goes into scientific testimony, and his opinion as to the conclusion of what it shows is not based on his training or his scientific act.
13, the paper towel swabbing that you did.
Yes, I did.
And what was the result?
The test was positive.
Let's go through some of the exhibits.
I found another blood-like stain on the faucet.
With respect to the KM test, what was the result?
The test was positive. Yes, up in this area here, we found another dilute blood stain. Again, the area was initially field tested. using that KM test. The test yielded a positive result.
Do you dislike interruptions? Yeah, here's another one.
Could I just have a continuing objection so I don't have to keep interrupting on this issue with regard to the presumptive?
Thank you, overruled.
Yes, it's this area here. Again, it was field tested with KM. Positive test results. The two items of interest that we collected from underneath the sink were Exhibit 16, which was a pair of latex gloves, and Exhibit 17, which was a box of white plastic trash bags. The gloves had a texture to them. They're dishwashing gloves, and I previously on our walkthrough, we found a blood-like stain pattern in the garage on the floor that appeared to be a glove print, and the print appeared to have some sort of texture to it. It was somewhat similar to these gloves here. We found another blood-like stain on the edge of the countertop. Again, that's this blood-like stain here. We field tested it for blood using that KM test. It was positive. That is a hair that we found on the garage floor. We learned that the New Canaan Police Department had located Jennifer Dulos's Chevy Suburban on that road. That's the photograph of the Chevy Suburban I was speaking about.
And picture 4.
That's the rear of the vehicle. I found some blood-like stains on the outside of the vehicle.
Where?
On the outside of the vehicle.
Okay, and where on the outside of the vehicle?
I believe it was on the rear bumper. That's one of the blood-like stains I found on the vehicle. So you can see this discoloration here. That appeared to us to be white mark, where maybe some blood-like material was on the floor, and there was an attempt made to wipe it.
Marking, what does that depict?
That's that same L scale is being used to denote another stain pattern found on the garage floor.
And is that,
Close to the wall.
oh, I'm sorry. With respect to the rest of the garage floor, there's these little dots here all over. I'm gonna push the photograph up if I can. All these little markings. What are those?
I mean, it's a garage floor, so you have plant material, you have, other types of vegetation, you have sand, road salt. This is part of Lieutenant Davison's examination of the garage floor. First KM tested and then collected with the 2 swabs.
And the KM test?
Was positive.
And you took a swabbing off of which one?
Off of stain A18. That's a fragment of paper towel that appeared to have blood-like stains on it.
What did you seize?
There were 2 stains, B3. I took a sample of as Exhibit 38, B11. I took swabbings as Exhibit 39 and Exhibit 43, which I believe was another paper towel fragment.
Picture 5. What does that depict, sir?
That's another paper towel. It's a larger paper towel fragment with apparent blood-like stains. You can see this reddish staining here. This was the stain designated as B3 that I took swabbings of as Exhibit 38.
And did you do any testing on Exhibit 38 as well?
I did a KM test.
And the results?
Positive. So that is stains B9, B10, and B11, which are up in this area here. A sample of B11 I swabbed as Exhibit 39.
And that is, okay. And the same swabbing process, same every?
Same swabbing process. That was also tested with the KM test and was positive. It appears to be one of those blood-like stains, that swipe mark that we saw up in area A. Those are some more of the blood-like stains we found on the garage floor. That designates another fragment of paper towel.
They had an equipment malfunction, so the jury had to be excused. As they were being called back, the defense did this.
And before the jury comes out, I just wanted to add to my comments about the use of inositol, since we haven't got to those pictures yet. One of the things the court hadn't.
Well, the jury's going to file out while you're speaking.
Well, there's no witness. Got it.
He kind of reminds me of a teenager pushing as much as possible, but then he realized Dad isn't going for it right now.
Same testing and swabbing process, correct?
And the test results?
Positive.
Did you seize anything for evidentiary value on the garage bay door?
Yes, I seized a sample of a blood-like stain. It was on the inside of the garage door.
And the same process?
Same swabbing process, same testing process.
And the results?
The test was positive. The photograph of what we thought was a footwear impression or a shoe print. Sure, it's a blood-like stain on the garage floor, and you can see a partial distinctive pattern within the stain itself. This is a blood-like stain pattern that we located in area E. It's located here, kind of top center of the area. And I took a swabbing of this area to sample the blood-like stain. It was on the garage floor.
Was that designated as a exhibit?
Yes, Exhibit 51.
There is a pink arrow on the right side. Do you see where the pink arrow is?
Yes.
What exactly is that?
That, in this large stain pattern, the arrow depicts exactly where I took the sample from.
And same process, 2 swabs?
2 swabs, yes.
Did you test it?
I did.
And the results?
Again, I'm going to just, every now and then, just make the same objection regarding any quote results.
You overruled.
The test result was positive.
Thank you. Sir, picture 3.
As a similar stain pattern, another blood-like stain that appeared to be a white. It's located here at the left-hand side of area E. And again, I sampled this using that same swabbing technique, same testing technique, and I took the sample from this area here.
And the test results?
Test results were positive. That is blood-like stain that I tested and sampled as Exhibit 52.
Did that sufficiently refresh your recollection, sir, as to the results of the test?
Yes, it did.
And what were the results of the test?
That KM test was negative.
It's true that some of the samples came back negative. But so what? If nothing happened in the garage, there should be no blood. Or perhaps only blood in a single location if, say, somebody cut themselves one day. Not all over the place. And there wouldn't be fragments of paper towels still hanging around if this was something that happened a long time ago. And for all the objecting the defense is doing, you've got to ask the question why. At this point, the prosecution is showing evidence that something terrible happened to Jennifer Dulos. They're not saying this points to Michelle TROCONIS. I can think of only 3 reasons for all these objections by the defense. I'm sure somebody can come up with more, but 3 is what is popping into my brain. 1 is that they're just going to argue everything, and sometimes that happens, but if that's what's going on, that's a really bad sign for the defense. 2, they want to dispute that Jennifer Dulos is actually dead, and that's ludicrous. A 3rd possible reason is maybe they just have an overall interest in getting presumptive blood tests made inadmissible in general to set a precedent. But none of it seems like any kind of solid argument on the defense side.
That's the rear of the Chevy Suburban. Right, so that's a blood-like stain we found just above one of the running boards. It was designated, tested, and swabbed and collected in the same manner as we did in the house.
And with respect to the results,
The test results were positive.
picture 5, sir.
That is a blood-like stain pattern found on the lower edge of one of the doors. Again, those are additional stain patterns found on the door of the Suburban.
States 9.
That's the blood-like stain that I first saw on the bumper on Lapham Road. And again, I tested it, collected it, and marked it as State Police Exhibit 105, and the test results were positive. That is blood-like stains that were found on the steering wheel of the Chevy Suburban.
And same question, sir. Did you?
Same collection method. It was tested. Test results were positive. That's the rear cargo area of the Chevy Suburban. The adhesive scales in the pink arrows denote areas where blood-like staining was found.
Specifically, I'm going to ask you about states 12. What is that?
That is an area of blood-like staining. It's hard to see with the dark carpet. And that was found in the rear cargo area. It was tested, collected, and seized in the same manner as all the other swabbings of blood-like stains. It was denoted as State Police Exhibit 121.
And the test results?
Test results were positive.
There were a few more like this from inside the Suburban. And then the lawyers had to argue about pretty much the same stinking thing. So the jury was excused. The next exchange you see took place outside of the presence of the jury. And the witness makes a great point that the defense probably wished he hadn't. Here it is.
You use the word luminol. What does that mean?
It's a chemical that we use to detect latent blood, that is blood that's not readily seen. We use it as a search tool. It's not we don't use it as a presumptive. We use it to search for blood that's not readily visible.
The defense has been arguing about presumptive tests, not search tools. This witness is pointing out the luminol is a search tool. That distinction is pretty important. In the next clip, the jury's back in the room.
That is a time exposure of our application of luminol. This is the rear cargo area of the Chevy Suburban. We sprayed the luminol throughout the rear cargo area. It took several time exposures.
What does that depict, sir?
That was taken during our luminol examination. That's, again, the rear cargo area of the Chevy Suburban. I believe that's more focused on the driver's side of the vehicle.
States 16. What does that depict, sir?
Again, taken during the luminol examination, and that's the passenger side of the rear cargo area.
Did you look at a specific area of the vehicle?
The undercarriage specifically.
What is that?
That is the Chevy Suburban, Jennifer Dulos' Chevy Suburban. That is the passenger side of the Chevy Suburban. This is some blood-like material we found on the edge of the undercarriage. An item of interest that we found during examination of the undercarriage. Again, this is on the passenger side. We're looking at this this clearish little specimen right there. So, and we designated this as item A. I removed this with a sterile scalpel, packaged it in a little paper foil, and later the next day transported it to the medical examiner's office so he can do he can put it underneath the microscope, look and see what kind of cells are there.
20, please.
Item B, I believe it's on the frame rail. And so I'm looking at this little fleck of material right there. Again, this was collected in a similar manner. Item C is on the running board. It's this area here.
Look closely at this picture. I want to know what you think, and I hope people discuss this in the comments. How and why would there be a footwear impression there? Now, I wish that I had Ed Wallace on my channel.
This is a photo of what would look to us to be a footwear impression on the inside one of the wheels of the Chevy Suburban. And I believe this was taken on the 28th of May during our vehicle process. Yeah, so this is the exterior side of the vehicle's tailgate. I believe this is the bottom edge right here. And during our examination of, you can see the application of fingerprint powders. Right there. There's not a lot of, there's absolutely no ridge detail here whatsoever. However, it was handled, so we swabbed it. I took 2 swabs that were moistened with sterile water, swabbed this area, and then collected it and designated it as State Police Exhibit 113.
They broke for lunch here. I think I'm going to divide today's court testimony into 2 videos. It's taking me longer than I'd hoped to put these together, and I want to make sure I give you something before it gets too late into the night. Plus, Watson needs some attention, and I haven't eaten anything. So I will try to get the afternoon's events out, but it will probably be late. Thank you for listening. I'll see you in the comments.